All right, welcome back to Kind Regards, the show. This is episode 3, Taking Refuge. And I suppose what I want to talk about today is what we're waiting for, what we're like after, what we're hanging out for, that sort of makes the suffering of the moment okay. You know, I'm in Melbourne right now, and we've been traveling around, and like mostly we cook our own food and stuff, make our own food, and that's kind of been disrupted by like the hustle and bustle of Melbourne, and it's harder to find places to sort of do dishes and stuff like that. But for whatever reason, we're eating out a lot more, and there's something about those experiences, you know, that they're to be looked forward to. You know, they're ultra convenient. You just walk into a place, you know, point at something delicious, and they bring it out to you, and then take away the plates, and then you walk away. You know, it's so convenient, and the food is always jacked up with like the most delicious stuff. You know, like weird sauces and sugary, you know, accoutrements, and it's always like pleasurable. It's almost too pleasurable. Sometimes I think I don't even know that I'm eating until I'm finished eating, and then I return back to my body and my head, and I'm like, oh, there I am, you know. But that aside, really pleasurable experiences. And then I don't know, and then I get back to the van, and I just think like, where is it now? You know, all those nice meals, all the, you know, they're like, oh wow, how did they do it? Like all these thoughts of what was pleasurable, that it all vanishes. It's all gone. Like it's ultimately transient. And this is quite a Buddhist notion, and taking refuge I'm taking from Buddhism, from James Lowe, who talks about the Dzogchen tradition, and you know, and a lot of other Buddhist traditions too. You do it in Vipassana, in Goenka's Vipassana sort of courses. You take refuge in the method. You take refuge in the Buddha and all this stuff. And what does that mean? Well, it means that that's the place where we're trying to find, I guess, like peace. That's the place where we're trying to have our solace. In day to day, you know, we find our solace in a whole bunch of stuff. I find it at the moment in this work. You know, I feel if I spend 3 hours every morning doing this work, like doing this kind of stuff, coming up with ideas, recording and putting them out, then I feel really accomplished. And when I'm going through something worse later on in the day, I take refuge in this work, you know. But there's a whole bunch of stuff, like if I'm not feeling as well, and maybe other people relate to this too, you can take refuge in your place above other people. You know, you can take refuge in your status compared to others. You know, you see someone who's of lower status than you, and you think, oh, geez, at least I'm not. You know, I could be, but I'm not. You know, oh, I could dress like that, or I could, you know, just be that kind of person. But thank goodness I'm not. And it's a little sort of self-soothing thing where you take refuge in who you are. You know, you can take refuge in how much money you have. You know, it's a classic. Take refuge in the workplace, the role in the workplace that you have. You know, you can take refuge in the substances you take, and the shows that you watch, the entertainment. You know, I knew someone who at work, the only thing they could talk about was what they were going to watch later. And you know, I don't know them very well, but Maria, you know, I wonder, like, you know, it felt like she was always grasping for this thing, like, oh, later I'm going to relax, later I'm going to be entertained, later things are going to be okay, and this is okay now because of later. And you know, this is all right. I suppose there are different levels of taking refuge, and I guess the point of this is that I've been thinking about the levels of of taking refuge in things, and where it is that I find my peace of mind, and where it is that I feel psychologically safe and secure in my life. And I think there are different levels, and I think that the higher the level, the more difficult it is, but also ultimately the more rewarding it is. The food thing it's too easy, and it's so transient, and it's just gone. It's ephemeral, and it's gone. Taking care of your body and cooking your meals and making sure that you're not, incidentally sort of poisoning yourself with the shortcuts of industrial food production, is harder, but gives you a deeper sense of peace that I'm putting in this effort, and I'm reaping the rewards of that effort. Similarly, like making things like this, which are for others more than, perhaps I think so far, more than for myself, they're for other people, and so that I can be of service. That's a classic thing in Buddhism, where they say, every time you remember it, you get a gift again. Like every act of generosity is an ongoing gift to yourself. And so to take refuge in service, seems like a higher level than sort of this other stuff, this transient stuff that, is here and then it's gone. And, when I remember a meal that I had, what even is there? This vague sort of conceptual imprint. There's no taste, there's no texture, there's nothing. I can't relive that. It's gone. And it's gone the moment it arrives too. Even the length of the meal, every bite is just gone. It's out the door. And so I suppose that's the crux of it. In my own life, I want to set aside the things that I have been taking refuge in, which primarily has been food, and I suppose like the entertainments of the city, the indulgences of the city, and get back to the, I guess what in my mind is the higher stuff, which is, meditation and sort of trying to be healthy as I can be, and doing this work. If I just do this work and I concentrate on the work, I feel like it's a more solid thing to take refuge in. Though the Buddhist perspective would obviously say that the work itself is transient too. What if I lose my tongue? What if I can't talk? What if I can't do this work? Well, then what? Well, yes, then I'm in a bit of a pinch. But in the meantime, I'll take refuge in this work, and I suppose prompt you to wonder what you're taking refuge in. That's Kind Regards, episode 3, Taking Refuge. I'll see you next time.